Ladies and gentlemen, for a session sponsored by Travelsify, please welcome co-founder and CEO Travelsify, Bruno Chauvat, in discussion with SkiftX research editor Jeremy Kressmann.
Bruno, it's great to have you on stage again. I know we've done this a few times.
Thank you.
So in today's session, we're going to talk about something called attribute-based selling for hotels. And what is attribute-based selling, you may ask? Well, it's a strategy that's focused on rethinking and optimizing hotel distribution and merchandising, basically breaking down hotels into detailed characteristics about the property experience. And I think this approach has several benefits, right? It not only gives hotels more control and confidence, and to the users especially, it gives them that confidence to help them book hotels and something that's going to best match their travel purpose. And they get also has a substantial revenue upside for hotels as well. So today we've got travel tech expert Bruno with us. He's going to tell us more about this promising strategy in the hotel industry. So Bruno, I want to start for a minute by chatting about your company, Travelsify, and its core product. It's called Hotel DNA, right? Yep. How do you create a hotel DNA ranking, these rankings you do? And what benefit does that offer to hotel groups and to owners also?
Let me start by saying that several years ago, as a frequent traveler, I was really surprised by the huge mismatch between, in the hotel booking funnel, between the way hotels were talking to guests and referring only to price and amenities, while the guests were expecting experiences and value. And there were many industry insiders saying that guests are only interested in breakfast and Wi-Fi. So we did analyze more than 400 million reviews in multiple languages, including Chinese, and we realized that guests speak as much about spaciousness or coziness of the room as about breakfast.
Okay.
And they speak 4 times more about the decoration of the room and the atmosphere than about Wi-Fi. So we did build an AI technology which extracts automatically the hotel DNA attributes that matters the most for the guests. For instance, stylishness or spaciousness, design, great views. And we have today more than 40 attributes, positive and negatives, which characterize every single hotel in the world. So you have seen many companies looking at hotel reviews. But at the end, they are only looking at whether the guest was happy or not, whether the staff was friendly. We go a couple of steps further. We understand what do matter to the guest, whether it's, as I said, stylishness, spaciousness, but actually that's the unique selling proposition from the guest perspective. So that's really something which helps defining every single hotel. And I was discussing recently with a brand executive saying it's over the time when we can say the hotel is clean, we have room service, and the staff is friendly. We need now to have differentiators. These 3 elements are must-haves. They are not differentiating our hotels compared to others. So that's the unique selling proposition from the guest perspective is what we call the hotel DNA.
Okay, so you need to get much more detailed. Let's talk more about this concept of attribute-based selling. As I understand, Travelsify is actually working with Marriott right now, and we just had Marriott up on stage, doing this pilot to test out this concept of attribute-based selling. So what was the goal of that pilot, and what have you learned so far from it?
So more than 1 million travelers in the US in the summer have used hotel DNA attributes when choosing their hotel. We are running pilots with industry leaders such as Marriott, as you mentioned, Accor, IG, who are currently assessing the benefits of Travelsify, but more than that, about the attribute-based selling at the hotel level. And some of you have probably seen our hotel DNA attributes and the match score that we are providing for hotels, best matching the guest preferences. The same way, to a certain extent, Netflix is providing match score to its subscriber for recommending the TV series of the movies. And I have to say that the attribute-based selling at the hotel level, the results triggered by that are amazing. and both in terms of engagement rates and in terms of conversion. So as you can imagine, I'm bound by, let's say, a confidentiality agreement, so I'm not going to disclose any specific figures. But what I can say is, just after a few weeks, the engagement rates that we have seen were much higher than any of the search filters that were used on the booking platform. So showing really that the guests would like to have a better way to select their hotels. And it was also true for the conversion rate. So we have seen that these figures were high, and despite the fact that these are initial results, we are very optimistic, because that's like for any innovation when it's introduced to guests. There is that first step when the innovators and early adopters are using it, and then the behavior of users following the pattern of the innovation adoption curve. So it means that even for instance for WhatsApp, it was not overnight that all the users were using WhatsApp, despite the fact that it was free and providing savings. That's the same for attribute-based sellings. There were several articles recently in the industry, some of them saying it will take off immediately, some of them it will never. We have seen the results, and I can tell you that the engagement rate was growing every day. So we are very confident that today and tomorrow, even more, attribute-based selling at the hotel level is really going to work.
Okay. So we've seen this actually before. The hotel's not the first place that attributes-based selling has happened. The airline industry, for example, they've been doing a lot of this to market what a lot of people would call ancillaries, right? You know, these add-ons, you know, if you're a family traveler or a business traveler, you probably want different things out of your flight experience. Do you see this same approach working for hotels? And are there also other opportunities? For example, could this impact how you price a room?
I would say that we need to have two different approaches.
Okay.
Because a flight and a hotel, the stay in a hotel are two different products. Let me give you the way I see it. In the airline industry, you first choose the destination, and then potentially the time and the price, or the destination, the price, and the time.
Okay. Yeah.
But the experience in the plane is only after you have decided these three prior elements. So because it's only, you are not going to choose the destination or the plane because you have the ability to buy some extra space between seats for $10. So in the hotel industry, in the hospitality industry, you see more and more people who are defining their stay in, let's say, depending on the experience they would like to have. Sometimes it's even the destination which is chosen depending on that. So we see that there are many more attributes, many more elements, experience differentiators in the hospitality industry than in the airline industry. So that's the reason why it should be pushed upwards in the hotel booking funnel, because this will be of mutual benefits for the guests and the hotels. Let's take an example. Let's say if you are coming to New York, you are coming to New York for an airline company. You can buy extra elements, but if you are coming to New York and you are staying at the Citizen M Times Square, it's not because you like the spaciousness of the room or the quietness. It's because you love that experience being lively with a social lobby.
Yeah.
So you are defining the choice based on your experience and the attribute. The same if it's about some other people will choose spaciousness or quietness.
You know, that's an interesting point about New York, right? I think we've got time maybe for one more question. I'm curious how the destination impacts the hotel attributes and how you merchandise that. Are you able to tell what's more important in a given destination, you know, New York versus Miami, for example?
Yeah, definitely with the attribute-based selling, we are able to know what are the most interesting attributes that are selected by the most popular attribute that are selected by the guests. So I can tell you that every single destination has its own, I would say, DNA as well. We are able to know what people are looking at in a destination, because that's thanks to the attribute-based selling approach. But given the fact that we know all the DNA of all the hotels in the world, we're able to know, and that's a very valuable market insight, what are the groups which are matching best with the demand. So seeing the equilibrium between the demand and the supply. So that's something which is really important, because once again, people are investing in their travels, whether they are traveling for leisure a couple of times per year, or they are frequent travelers for business, and each time it's an investment from a financial and emotional standpoint. So they would like to reduce the risk of being disappointed. That's the reason why with attribute-based selling, they are definitely reducing that risk.
Bruno, I always enjoy talking to you. This has been a pleasure. Let's do it again soon.
Me too. Thanks.
Right, thanks.